Welcome to Forensic Friday.
where we examine the intersection of true crime, psychology, and the heart of being human in the middle of it all. Have you seen the trend where people are talking about like what's in versus what's out for 2025?
Yes.
Okay, what are some of your out in 2025?
My own or what I'm seeing?
Just what you're seeing. Like, a couple years ago, skinny jeans out, which caused many millennials to have to figure our lives out.
No, I still
This is
wear.
a good thing for me.
Yeah.
I love me some flare jeans. I'm very
Yeah.
happy right now, but it was very hard for
I
a lot of
kept
people.
my flare jeans though. I keep the styles that I like.
You sure do. You have plenty of clothes. I mean, I feel like you could weather any season
I
that way.
can. I know.
Mm-hmm.
Then I feel like the season comes and I feel like I have nothing to wear.
Oh, totally.
Mostly summer, hot seasons. I feel like I have nothing to wear.
Well, that's because we hate summer.
I don't know like what's in versus out. I think what's in that's weird is like I forget what they were calling it, but when people paint like a whole room a dark color,
Oh, I've seen that.
yeah, that's in, which I don't like.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that.
But I don't know.
I feel like everything that we wore in high school is
Oh, it's
now
coming
in.
back.
And the
Yes.
thing that's funny about that is a lot of that is the same stuff my mom wore in high school.
Yep. Yep.
So there's this so I'm kind of thrilled because we're going back to things I like. I'm
You're
like, okay,
right.
I am here for this. Minus the crop tops. That is not kind to a 40-year-old woman. Very few of us anyway. Right? I'm not wearing a crop top. This is terrible. You're adorable in one.
Those might be going back out.
Good. I mean, if the 40-year-olds have anything to say about it.
I haven't seen as many, but maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
just because I haven't been around a bunch of people,
That could be.
you know?
But yeah, I think a lot of those kinds of things are in. I think therapy continues to be in, which makes me very happy.
Yeah.
I don't really know what's out. We may not be cool enough to do the in versus out.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think like what are things that are going out?
There's a little bit of like younger people, like middle school girls wanting to go to Sephora and do all of that.
Hmm.
Whereas I think people our age, it's a little bit more out. Like I think we're trying to find reasonable
Price.
skincare, reasonable things. Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting. Like
Mhm.
my precious nieces, they want like drunk elephant and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, give me a really cool drugstore cleanser, like something that's going to get the job done, same ingredients, a third of the price.
Yep.
And then
Do you
I
think
think
cyber
brands,
cars are going out?
ooh, good question.
I see less of them. I see a
I
lot of
have
the
seen
real
less.
ugly cyber trucks, but not
I hate
I
the
I see
Cybertruck.
less Teslas.
I have seen less Teslas. They kind of had their moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they're on their way out. You guys let us know what's in or out. Maybe we'll put some on social media.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to suggest that we throw out in 2025 is the concept of resolutions.
I think that's been going out.
I think so too, but people still, we can't
Mhm.
help ourselves. And even as therapists, we go in like, what do you want to do different in 2025? Like, I think it's just a natural time to take stock of your life.
Mhm.
But I don't think resolutions work. That's probably why it's on its way out.
Yeah. Well, think about it. A resolution is I'm starting on January 1 to
Yeah.
change some aspect of my life. And it's funny to me because we can choose any day to change any aspect of our life, but for some reason we focus
Mhm.
on January 1.
The other thing that's hilarious about that is for people who do, and I have nothing against this. If you do this, good for you.
Yeah.
January, a cleanse, a
Yeah.
diet in January,
Yeah.
whatever. My experience with people is if
Mhm.
we know we can't do something on a certain date, we're going to
Mhm.
do the thing every day until that date.
Right.
This is what addicts do before rehab. It's like if they have a
Yes.
drop dead rehab date, they are going to be high as a kite until they get there and put some in the suitcase, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think that's human nature. That's just how we think.
Yep.
So, what Nat and I wanted to talk about today is stages of change, which is a kind of a clinical concept, but it is life changing if you understand it because it's a more realistic, more sustainable way to make changes in your life, like real changes.
Mhm.
I wanted to give a tiny bit of background And then now I want you to help me kind of explain them because we teach this every day of the week. It is rare to have a week that we're not referencing this in some way.
Right.
So, stages of change came from the trans theoretical model of change that was developed by researchers in the 70s. So, the basic premise is there's these stages that we generally go through when we're making a change. And this is predicated on stopping doing something, but
Mhm.
I'm going to argue that you can also use this to start doing something. It just is applied a little bit differently. So, Nat, can you tell the people what the different stages are and kind of what they look like?
Yes, I love stages of change
I
talk.
know, me too.
My favorite thing to talk about. So, stages of change, there are 5 stages.
Yep.
So there's pre-contemplation, which means I don't have a problem. Potentially, everyone else has the problem around me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I like to explain this from a perspective of addiction
Yes,
because I think it's easier to grasp, but I want everyone to hear me really clearly. Stages of change goes with any type of change we want to make in our life.
that's right. Any.
And Jenny and I actually just before we started recording, we're talking about things that we've changed in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Healthier, to be better. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so not or pre-contemplation is basically denial. I don't have a problem, there is no problem,
Yep.
right?
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. And so in the world of addiction, right, that's I don't have a problem, I just like to party on weekends or I like to do this whatever, use on weekends. Everyone else just has the problem that I like to have fun, right? Like
Yeah, or
that's
even everyone
what
else is doing it. I don't know why you're focusing on me.
right. Contemplation is you know what? Maybe I have something to change. Or again, in addiction world, it's, oh, maybe there is a problem.
Yeah,
I skipped work all week or whatever, right? Maybe I do have a problem and I need to look at it, but I'm not quite ready to make a change yet, but I'm thinking about it.
I'm thinking about it, and I may be waffling. There's lots of waffling in
Yes.
contemplation. We call it
Yes.
ambivalence.
Yes. It's like maybe, maybe not.
Yeah,
We really kind of weigh our pros and cons.
absolutely.
The next stage is determination. I call it determination and preparation. That's like how I call it.
It's formally been changed to preparation, but I really like including determination with it
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
you need both.
Yes. So I think the reason why I say determination and preparation is because, like you just said, we need to be determined to make the change. And then the preparation is, okay, you know what? I know I need to make the change and
Mhm.
I'm starting to come up with a plan.
Yeah,
Right. So again, for addicts, that's okay. I know I need to make a change. I got into therapy. I'm going to go to some meetings. I'm going to, line up a friend to call when I drive by that one liquor store, whatever.
yeah,
Right. So we are coming up with our plan and we're starting to put our plan into action.
that's absolutely right.
Right. Action is the next stage. And that is, I am doing my plan.
Yes.
I'm actively doing my plan. Action is can feel hard because I'm actively having to think about what I'm doing.
It's intentional.
It's intentional, right? So I drive by a certain place and I get this anxious feeling to stop or this urge to stop. So I say, "Ooh, that's that feeling. I'm going to call my friend."
We'll be right back.
Eye-Opening Moments podcasts are real-life stories of adversity, encounters, and perspectives. They are moments that can lift your spirits, give you some food for thought, or move you. For the introspective mind that likes to reflect, discover, and find solutions or meaning in a complex life, listen to Eye-Opening Moments podcasts.
Right?
Yes.
Like it's very planned.
And it
Very
takes energy. The action stage takes a lot of energy because you have to pay attention
yes.
and you're working some new muscles, some
Mhm.
new emotional muscles, some new
Yes.
sobriety muscles.
And building self-awareness.
Yes.
Right? We're really trying to figure out because in the contemplation and preparation and determination stage, we're learning what we need to do in order to make changes, but in action stage, in my opinion, we are learning a lot about ourselves,
Yes.
right?
And we honestly learn the most from what doesn't work.
Exactly.
So it's a kind way to look at change in many ways because we
Yeah.
can actually take a step back and go, oh, that didn't work, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But
Yep, we'll talk about that.
yep.
So then the last stage is maintenance, and maintenance is essentially one step up from action, but it takes a little less effort. It feels kind of like a second language that I'm more fluent in, right?
Yes.
I no longer have to think about the steps that I'm taking necessarily. I just kind of do it,
Yeah. It doesn't take
right?
as much energy anymore because it's
Yeah.
not new anymore.
Yes. Instead of, and I'm going to shift my example from addiction. Instead of feeling like, okay, I have to wake up at this time and I have to get to the gym at this time and
Yeah.
I have to do these things, right? It's, I get up, I know my routine, and I go.
Yeah.
Or same with my addiction example. I am on a street that historically has maybe brought me anxiety. I
Hmm.
don't even necessarily think I'm anxious. I need to call my friend. I just think I just call my friend,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
It's less of a thought process and more of and more of a second nature thing.
Yeah, I love that now. I think that's so true.
And then when we bring in like what we're talking about just a second ago, what we would call maybe relapse or finding out that something didn't work or
Hmm.
finding something new in our path that we didn't know would be a trigger or something that would get in our way, right? We have to acknowledge those things. And what we've always said in the world of relapse is relapse tells us something. It's not a fail.
Mm-mm.
It gave me information and I have to look at the information that it gave me.
Absolutely. And, there's kind of a controversial stage that I saw when I was doing a little bit of extra research, and it's termination. And I fundamentally disagree with this one. I think people in a 12-step community, AA, would also disagree that you can fully terminate a behavior if you're trying to not do that thing anymore. I think that we're always going to have some susceptibilities as people. There's going to be things we're more prone to struggle with. Maybe there are some things that you finally just accomplish if it's something you're trying to do. But if it's something you're trying not to do, it may be very hard to ever fully terminate that.
Yeah.
But our plan just keeps getting better and better. And if we relapse, the best place to go back to is preparation.
Mhm.
We go back and we check out our plan. Is this working
Yep.
or not?
Yep.
You
And
know?
we have to adjust it, right? Because something
Yeah.
didn't work or we missed something.
Yes. One of the reasons that Nat and I take so much time to study and immerse ourselves in the stages of change is because when people are in the court system, specifically in forensic work,
Mhm.
they could be using crack cocaine up until the day before their court date. They have their court date and it's boop, you're done.
Yep.
You are in maintenance. And if you're not in maintenance, you're in jail.
Yep.
So as a treatment provider, we have to walk everybody through all the stages rapidly, or they're just in jail, which
Yeah.
is really an unfortunate way that I think the system is especially challenging for people with addiction issues. We've seen
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
if ever there's an area for criminal justice reform, it is this one. But right now, that is what it is. I suspect, Nat, that resolutions don't work for the same reason. I'm going to tell you why.
Mm.
I think when we make a resolution, we make it like we're starting an action. We
Mhm.
tell people, my resolution is, remember, oh my gosh, the episode of Friends where they all make resolutions and they all fail on the first day.
Yeah.
Rachel's is like not to gossip. They have all these different resolutions.
Yeah.
It fails, I think, because we announce we're going to do this thing, which is a problem we're going to talk about in a minute. And then we basically just decide January 1st, we're just going to do the thing. There's
Yeah.
not typically a very good plan in place,
Oh, I agree with that.
and then if it doesn't work, we're like, well, that was dumb. Resolutions are stupid.
Right. Or we feel like a failure.
Or we feel like a failure. Yeah. Less
Right.
confident people feel like a failure.
Yeah. It's like I couldn't do it. Right. I mean,
Absolutely.
shoot, in the past, I've had resolutions and I've realized, and here's, I want to make this really clear. Resolutions and goals are different things.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. Because I think a lot of times people are like, so you're saying it's bad to have a goal? No, no, no. Goals
Oh,
are great.
goals are great.
I made Preston sit down with me. You know this.
Oh
A
yeah, I
couple
do this with
weeks
my husband
ago,
too. Yeah.
and we talked about our goals this year,
Oh yeah.
right? But we're not sitting here saying we're making this change today and
Uh-uh.
holding it through the rest of the year. We're saying these are the goals that we have, and we are going to make changes this year to
Yes.
reach those goals. But I'm not starting at a, hard and fast start in the
Yes.
second like we do with resolutions, right? Resolutions, like you just said, we tend to go into them with very little preparation.
And they're
We just
usually
have,
kind of broad. I don't know. Maybe some people are out there making tiny, sustainable resolutions, but the ones
yeah,
I hear are I'm getting in shape in 2025. I'm
yes.
going to quit smoking in 2025. I'm going
Or
to,
or even or people will say, and a lot of my gym people will know what I'm talking about. People say, I'm gonna go to the gym in 2025. So the worst day to go to the gym, if you're a person who consistently works out, is January 1st
oh,
or
hard.
that first week of January.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not saying don't go to the gym. I still went. I actually love seeing new people there, but what makes me sad is I know that most of them aren't going to continue because there's no plan.
You won't see him in 3 weeks.
There's no plan. They didn't
Mm-mm.
come up with specific goals. It's just I'm going to do this. I'm going to go impulsively sign up and I'm going to show up and then in a week I'm going to be way too damn sore to go back. Or I'm going to be
Absolutely.
too tired because I didn't do this in a way that's going to be sustainable.
Yes. There's an element of humility and reflection
Mhm.
in setting a true intention or a true goal.
Mhm.
And you have to kind of sit with it and go, how ready am I to do this? And what do I need to do this? You have to
Mhm.
just sit with it for a minute. And I don't think we do that as a society super well
No.
either.
No.
So, Gare found something so
Mm.
fascinating in some research. It was in Psychology Today, it's based on research.
Okay.
When they studied dopamine in the brain, when you achieve a goal and when you set a goal, you get the same dopamine hit when you tell people about a goal you set as when you actually achieve it. So, telling a bunch of people what your goal is actually not super helpful
Mm.
because you're getting all these dopamine hits from telling people how you think the world is going to be and what you think you're going to do, but you're
Yeah.
not actually doing the thing.
Yeah. I feel
So,
that's so interesting though, because in my experience, I've specifically me though, I've been
yes.
the opposite.
Well, I think it depends who you tell. So,
Mhm.
it's not saying don't tell anyone your goals.
Okay.
What it's saying is don't announce your goal like it's your entire new personality.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we need supportive people in our life. It is good to intentionally let people in on our plans to make changes. You and I have done that with each other for years.
100%.
What you don't want to do is make these grand proclamations.
Don't post it on your Facebook is what I'm
Well,
hearing.
and that's the thing with social media is I think we put our whole lives out there.
Mhm.
And it makes it actually harder in the long run from a brain chemistry perspective to do the thing because it
Mhm.
feels good to talk about it. It doesn't always feel good to take the small steps to get there.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
would rather talk about it than do it sometimes,
Oh, for sure.
right? So I
Mhm.
think that is so interesting. And so smaller steps are typically going to be much better in the long run than setting bigger goals, even with bigger action steps,
Yeah.
because small steps build momentum.
Mhm.
And they don't even have to be sequential. So when you're planning, it doesn't necessarily have to be like an outline for a thesis paper. Like it doesn't have to be one, then two, then three, then four.
Right.
What Nat was just talking about, which is, I think, kind of beautiful, is I think I probably need to call a friend when I drive by that liquor store because of the
Yeah.
feeling I get.
Yeah.
Maybe I should dump out all the liquor in my house. That might be a good step. They don't have to necessarily be this, then this, then this, then this.
Right.
But they're all small steps that we can actually do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think finding people to help hold you to the accountability that you're hoping for.
Yes, the right people.
The right people. Like, for me, I know some of the things that I've challenged myself to,
Hmm.
and for me, the low-hanging fruit ones that I think of are like the races that I've run or the bodybuilding show that I did.
Yep.
The people that held me accountable were the people that I trusted at that time and still
Yes.
do, right? Like these are still
And
some of
how
my
many people was that really at the end of the day that knew the ins and outs?
yeah. So for one of my races, it was my friend Jessica
Hmm.
and gearing up for my wedding. You know, I was neurotic. You remember that.
I do. I do
Gearing up for
remember.
my, gearing up for my wedding. So Jessica would call me in the morning because I'd ask her, like, can you call me in the morning and get me, if I'm not awake, make me get up.
Yep.
And then for my show, you know, I paid my sister-in-law
Yep.
to train me. And if I didn't show up, I'm still paying her.
Oh, yes.
Right. And I'd have to meet her in the mornings. And so, you know, we have to ask the people who are willing to hold us accountable, but also not like rake us over the coals if we mess up.
Yes. I think about building the domestic violence program where we work.
Mhm,
I, of course, have a plan. I joke with my team, I always have a plan.
mhm,
That plan is insane. There's
mhm.
8,000 tiny steps, and they are not linear. I can assure you. They are not linear, but they will all happen.
Well, that was
Uh,
our podcast.
uh, yes. And one of the cool ways that that's unfolded is I'm really committed to just continuing to move the ball forward. That's really my
Yes.
intention in life. And so what that looks like when I'm building a program is, okay, I'm just going to call and ask if I'm even allowed to do that.
Yeah.
That's like a literal step. Some
Yes.
people would say, I'm going to write a proposal for this and it's going to be done on February 15th, right? Or whatever. And
Mhm,
it's not that
mhm,
we don't have time-bound goals and responsibilities, but
mhm,
typically when I'm trying to do something big and long-lasting and sustainable, it
mhm,
starts with little things that give me momentum.
mhm.
And it is typically making a phone call, asking a question, sending an email. It is usually something very small that
Yep.
I'm most likely to avoid because I
Yep.
know it's going to start things, it's going to put things in motion.
Yep.
Those are the little steps that we just have to make to start to make a change.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that about different language, like instead of a resolution, because even resolution is I am resolved, which sounds amazing, but also there's not a lot of flexibility in that.
Right.
I like the word intention. I'm curious if you have a different word. I like intention because it's a small step. It's a broad focus
Mhm,
where you're taking small steps. And I think those small steps sometimes lead to goal setting. So if I
mhm,
make that first phone call and they say, yeah, Janine, you could totally do that, but you got to do this first. Well,
mhm,
now I have an actual step in
mhm.
my plan, right? So I like an intention or direction.
Yep.
What's some other language that might be good?
For taking a step.
For just taking steps and being oriented in a direction instead of tying ourselves to like a really specific resolution.
Mhm.
We need momentum, we got to get started.
I think, yeah, for some reason the word desire comes up.
Oh, I like that.
You know, like I have to desire or want to make some sort of change.
I bet that's why the gym doesn't work. Nobody wants to go to the gym.
Yeah,
So if my resolution is I'm going to the gym, but I don't want to go to the gym, I'm sunk before I started. But if
exactly.
my intention is I want to be able to do something I can't do now,
Mhm.
or I want to feel better than I
Mhm.
felt before.
Mhm.
Or if you're really into it like you are, it might
Mhm.
be a very specific gain or a distance or
Yeah.
something that you would just be so excited if you could do this thing.
Mhm.
I like this, Nat, having a desire, having something we
Yeah.
actually want.
Yes, like I desire to better myself this year. I desire to, it's funny, Press and I were just talking about this, and I told him, I said, after I give birth, I have a desire to maybe train for another show,
Oh, I love that.
and he was like, let's train for a race because he doesn't love the show
Well,
industry.
and
But,
I don't want you drinking not drinking water for 3 days. That was
well,
not a good
and,
look on
we
you.
can do that differently.
Yes, you're gonna have to because I'm gonna be like, nope. That would be the trusted friend who's like, no, you
Right?
can't drink water. But I love that idea for you because I know how your brain works. I was going to ask what our intentions are for 2025, kind of individually, or desires. I like your word too. Do you feel like training for something, maybe to be determined, depending on how you're feeling and all of
Yeah.
that? Because right now the intention is what? Healthy pregnancy,
Yeah.
surviving work,
Yeah.
making it to the bathroom on time, right? I mean, those are the
Exactly.
literal desires right now, I
Yep.
feel like,
Yep.
right? But when you get to that point, I think it's kind of cool to know something that might be a desire for you this year. Anything else
Yeah.
that comes to mind for you for the year that's just a more general way to get momentum?
I mean, I think holistically staying caught up.
Oh, preach. Oh, but that's both of ours.
I know. So holistic, like, laundry, no,
Everything. Yes.
literally everything in my life, just staying somewhat more caught up. I'm not even going to hold myself to a standard of like being caught up all the time,
No, we need to be realistic.
being more caught up.
I love that.
Yeah.
What is a tiny small step?
Oof.
Like no step is too small.
Catching up now on my notes.
Okay, a specific thing, notes.
Yep. Notes.
I love this. And you're sharing this with someone who loves you.
Mm-hmm.
That's good things for you.
Mm-hmm.
How can I be supportive in a way that feels kind and helpful?
Hmm. Check in with me in a week, and if I didn't do it, say, get your shit together.
I can totally do that.
Cool.
Beautiful. I can look at us. We're doing stuff already.
I know. See, what about you?
Okay. I had this really fun conversation with, my parents' new besties,
Mhm.
Kristen, love you. And I had this really sweet conversation with her, and she has, a word for the year. And I've always thought that that's like a little bit cheesy. It's sort of in resolution land
I
for,
used to do a word and then I drop it like 2 months
but
in.
then she told me her word and it went all through me. And it
Okay.
was seen, the word seen.
Oh.
And so I sat with that and I was like, this is so interesting. And then she and I did this little gift exchange. And I shit you not,
I know she got you the best gift.
she got me the best gift. And it was like looking into my heart.
Your
And I don't
soul.
spend a lot of time with this person, my
Oh,
soul.
she like knows your collection.
She knows me.
Yes.
And I got her a gift and she opened it and she goes, "Oh my gosh, how do you know me? How do you know?" It's weird almost. And it's not just that we're similar because the gifts were different things.
Sure.
So it was very cool. So I was thinking about her word scene and I thought there's two sides of this for me that I want to orient myself towards. That's my intention is
Mhm.
to allow myself to be seen because I don't always do that.
Mhm.
And to try to see other people well.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think I usually do. I'm pretty intuitive, but sometimes I get moving really fast and
Mhm.
I go more into assumption land or going with what I knew before than what's happening right now.
Hmm.
So to see somebody is to actually see where they are right now, not just go off old information.
Right.
I know, isn't that like kind of gorgeous?
Yeah. Yes. What
Yes.
did you get
So,
her?
huh?
What
Oh,
did you get her?
I got her like 8 things, but they were little. But they were like little. You know this. I do the
I
best
know
little
you
presents.
do. I mean, I wore my ring that you got
Oh,
me.
I know. We have matching mama rings.
I know. And I showed Preston last night. I was like, look what Janine got me.
I got her the spiritual gangster socks because,
Yes. Because
of
you drew me.
course,
Duh.
eyeshadow, which
Eyeshadow. I
I
don't
don't
think
normally buy for someone, but
I
it's
don't
too
think you
perfect
did
for
you
her
get me
face.
eyeshadow?
Mm-mm. No, that's why I got her.
Oh, I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
I got her an
no. Oh,
eyeshadow.
you
No,
got
no,
her eyeshadow. Okay,
no,
okay.
but I got you both spiritual gangster socks because you are both spiritual gangsters.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's just the truth.
I love that.
What else did I get her? I got her this lip mask,
Mm.
Laneige lip mask, which is fabulous. Uh, we need sponsors, seriously, because we love these things.
I know.
But it was so funny because her husband was sitting next to her and he's like, "Can I have like a list? Can you give me a list of these things?"
Aw.
Because she felt so seen in that. And I think it's hard for men to understand sometimes what those little things are. And he's wonderful and he does see her. But it was just interesting to think about. And so my first step is to be honest with the people closest to me
Mm.
about what I'm actually thinking in a moment when they ask me.
I love that.
Because it's not that I'm dishonest, but I just give kind of the 10,000 foot version. You
Yeah.
get more because you're really close into me, but
Yeah.
I'm not a big sharer. I'm always kind of okay. And I just sort of go.
Yeah.
I'm in go mode. And so I'm just initially going to be a little bit more honest.
Yeah.
That's my small step.
I love
And
that.
I've told my person because you see me
Perfect.
literally more than I see my family, anybody.
I know.
I see you the most.
I know. Well, you're pretty honest with me, but
Oh, I am.
I think it'll be good for you to challenge that
Yes, with other people.
with other people.
So,
Think. Here's the problem that I have. I say what I think too much.
oh, I love that though. I hope you never change. Never change. I
Mm.
want to be in a nursing home with you, not a nursing home, in our lovely home that we have remained mobile enough to keep. This is the plan.
Yeah.
But I want to like sit on a porch with you someday and I want you to be the exact same. Like I want you to be the pistol that you are right now, then still,
Right.
you know,
Yes.
and sweeter to me than most other people, which I very much enjoy.
Oh, yes.
You protect my feelings in a way that you don't protect everyone else. And I love that so much.
Sure, you're not wrong.
No, I know. I love this. It's very sweet. I
Except
feel
I
very
did
seen.
except I did throw you under the bus in group the other night.
Yeah, that was fine though. I
But
expected
I
it.
didn't do it in a way that was like you're going under. We were under it together.
Oh yeah, totally. You didn't leave me alone. We were
I
both
just
under
didn't
the
want to
bus.
get run over by myself.
That's fine. I will always volunteer to get run over with you. That's fine. Yeah, yeah. You got a
Especially
buddy.
in our groups, they're just
Yeah,
sharks.
they're hard sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Mhm.
So I hope this is helpful to you guys. I hope you'll have conversations with your people and instead of maybe setting a unattainable resolution with no real direction or small steps, I hope this conversation helps you keep moving the ball forward
I
this
love that.
year, whatever that looks like for you.
Keep it moving forward, guys. Here's the thing. We started a podcast. Janine
Oh,
wanted to launch it. You guys already know this if you've been listening. Janine wanted to launch it in July.
yep.
It was like the night of April something, 11th
Mm.
maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let's just do the thing,
Yeah, you were.
And the cool thing about what we've been doing is obviously we have a goal, but we aren't setting these really humongous goals for ourselves. We are looking at the progress we're making and then setting the next steps up.
Yeah, and it's small. It's like, oh my gosh, we have 11,000 downloads. How incredible would it be if we had 12,000?
Right.
And then we talk about, oh, you know what? Maybe we should like let our forensic friends know that we're trying to get there. And bam, we're at 12,000. So
Right.
I think it is just a little bit of that, just moving the ball forward, just a little bit at a time with a lot of grace.
And you got to keep taking steps.
Yes.
You have to keep taking steps. Here's the thing.
Yep.
I think I see a lot of people get stuck because they bury their head in the sand or they had these overarching expectations for themselves. They don't reach that expectation for a day and then it all goes to hell. Y'all, smaller steps
Yep.
will get you there faster than trying to take these really big leaps because if you take the leaps and then you don't do the thing, you go back to the disappointed space and you're not going to do the thing.
Yes.
You've
And
got to just take the next right step.
And I already know folks with ADHD are going to go, but executive dysfunction, whatever. I get it. I have ADHD. Then do 5 tiny things in a span of 10 minutes. That's fine.
It's
We're not
fine.
limiting you to one,
No,
but you don't have to
I
be
can only do
paralyzed.
one.
Yeah, but you don't have to be paralyzed. Just move the ball forward. We are going to move the ball forward every day, inch by inch if we have to.
No resolutions, y'all. Just little goals.
Little goals, little steps, baby steps.
To get to the bigger things that you want.
And then celebrate.
Yeah.
Celebrate early and often.
Yes.
Because
we have to.
Well, let us know what your intentions are for the year. And I hope we get to celebrate some big wins this year with all of you.
Yes.
So we will see y'all next week. And as always,
bye, forensic friends.
I'm Janine.
And I'm Nat.
And as always, thanks for listening and join us next week for more crime, psychology, and heart.